Awesome to welcome St. Peter's University head coach Shaheen Holloway to share the game with us. Coach Holloway just completed his third season at St. Peter's and in 2020 was named the MAAC Coach of the Year. Coach Holloway, of course, had a storied playing career at Seton Hall, where he's also served as an assistant coach under Kevin Williard. And prior to that, was an assistant coach at Iona as well. Coach, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it. How you been? How's everything good?
Yeah, outstanding. I mean, I get a chance to talk basketball with people with you like you. So isn't that fun?
It's always fun, especially now that the season's over. You get a chance to, decompress a little bit and get a recap of things and put things in perspective, especially after this year.
Oh, I
It's
know. Tough year,
really
right?
good talking basketball. Yeah, it's always good talking basketball. Just, that's my love. That's my passion. So,
We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun, Coach. And I wanted to start something that I read from one of your interviews, and I want to get your expanded perspective on that. And that's your no stars philosophy. Can you talk to us about that?
yeah, you know what? It's funny you say that because so my second year here, we had an unbelievable year. I was playing 12 guys double figure minutes, and obviously nowadays people don't do that anymore because kids obviously want to play a lot of minutes and leave. And I just, I adopt that philosophy because I'm an old school guy. And so my thing, and I tell my players all the time, like we don't have stars on this team. We all equal one, including me as the head coach. I'm the head coach, but my assistants and everybody else is kind of all on the same page. So our thing is, before practice is like understand who we are and where we are, and who we are as a team. At that time, saw my second year, I had like six guys, average anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 points, and that's why we were so dangerous because it was like no stars. So when you're doing when you do a scout report on us, like you have no idea who to focus on. So that's kind of kind of the thing that I adopted, and the team took it and we ran with it, and we just kind of been successful from it.
Well, speaking to that, then a fast, aggressive style helps that and helps you play more players. But I'm curious with that, with playing so many players, what dictates your player rotations and how do you balance subbing with other aspects of coaching during a game?
But it's funny, man. It's all feel, right? So you gotta get a feel for things. Um, like I said, that particular year last year, it was kind of based off. At first, I had a set thing in my mind. Okay, I'm getting guys out at right before the first time out, the 16-minute time out, and I'm doing this. But then you guys start playing well, right? So then you go, let me keep them in a little longer. But it just was like a off feel and off kind of how we played, and the way I play is we play so hard on defense. Like you're gonna want to ask to come out the game. So guys understood that they was coming out and going back in just because if you're not giving me 110%, you're coming out anyway. So it was one of those things.
Well, I'll tell you, in preparing for this, the two things that came through for me was obviously that unique part about playing 12 players, but the other part being how often you talk about playing hard. And I want to get your thoughts on how you help shape that within your program.
But you know what I think, it's funny because I think I want guys that take on my personality, right? I coach that way. I coach hard. I coach with passion. When I was a player, I played extremely hard. I played with passion. I tell guys all the time, like, there's no cool in basketball. So if you're trying to be cool, then I'm the wrong coach for you. A lot of guys that's playing cool don't make money playing this game of ball. And everybody wants to be a pro, right? That's all the kids. I want to be a pro. I want to be a pro. All right, well, in order to be a pro, there's a lot of kids out there that could do what you could do. What's the difference, right? So are you going to play harder than them? Or are you going to give it everything you got? Our motto here at St. Peter's is you got to play every game and every minute like it's your last. It was fitting, especially for this year with COVID, because you never know. I mean, anybody could have got at any given time, a team could have got shut down. So I made sure that like I said, it kind of take on my personality. Like I'm very fiery, very passionate, and I coach that way because I played that way, and I want guys to have that same chip on their shoulder, per se, right? I want you. So when I'm recruiting guys, I tell guys all the time, I want guys that have a chip on their shoulder. I want guys that's hungry. I want guys that feel like they got overlooked, right? And then my pitch when I recruit, I tell kids all the time, if you love the game of basketball, I'm the best coach for you. If you don't love the game of basketball, don't come play for me. So it kind of comes from that.
Yeah, it's great. And I just want to come back to the playing 12 players then. Who's handling substitutions? Is that you, or do you have some assistants as well that chart and help you with the substitution part of it? I know you said feel, but what else goes into that?
Well, you know what? It's funny. I was talking to a good friend of mine, Coach Jordan from Butler, LeBar, and he told me he got a offensive guy and a defensive guy. He got who makes subs. And wow, I'm really not at that point yet in my career, right? So
Yeah.
not that I don't trust my coaches, because I do, but right now I'm kind of in charge of all that. Like I said, our guys understand that you're coming out, but you're going back in. So when I'm playing guys 12 guys double figure minutes, like I told you, Chris, before, if they don't play hard, like they should be asking to come out the game for playing so hard anyway. And if you're not asking to come out, that means that you're not giving me everything you got. So to answer your question, it's me who making the subs, and a Phil, and who match up well with who, and what guys to get on the court together, and don't stop the momentum of what's going on. Or you might got to change the momentum. I might have the 5 guys who started that's not playing well. Okay, well, let's go next 5 in.
It's so great to get your perspectives on some of these things, and and even you saying that it's maybe different as a newer coach versus a older or more experienced head coach as well. Want to come back to playing hard, because another part that I heard you say is that you don't want to be handcuffed by a player, and I love that phrasing and the context that you shared that in. Can you explain that to everyone?
Yeah, it's a thing that I remember when when I was a player, and I also remember when I was assistant coach. And my thing is, like, I don't never want no one thinking that they bigger than the whole team, right? Or bigger than the game of basketball. And I say it all the time, no one player is going to handcuff me to the point where, like, I feel like I got to play this player, or I'm going to lose him. Like, I don't coach that way. Like, I know it's crazy to say that, especially in these times with the portal being what it is. But I'm not afraid to lose a guy. I'm not afraid to coach a guy hard, or coach a guy to what I feel like they need. I'm not telling guys what they want to hear all the time, right? So with saying that, like, I'm not going to be handcuffed. Like, I'm like, if you don't want to play the way I want you to play, then you can't play here. And that's just what it is. And my thing is, like, I'm going to put my guys in spots with them for them to be successful. You just got to trust me, right? I know the old cliches, you got to trust the process, right? Trust the process. But my thing is just trusting what I'm trying to do. Chris, we paying for a short period of time, for 3 years, right? And in those 3 years, we reached the top of the league. Trusting that, trusting what we're doing. I'm not going to have you, well, I don't want to practice today, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, or one player is so much better than everybody else. He knows that, so now he knows that I need him. So now you're gonna start doing certain things. Nope. No. I tell people all the time, I tell my team all the time, no one is that good, even me as a head coach, where we ain't gotta come in and give it 120%. Like we good together as a group, not individually.
I'm excited to dive deeper into the details, and coaches can understand just listening to you right away that passion and hard work are overriding all of the details when we get into it. So let's talk first about the defensive side of the ball and talk about team defense. And one of your ethos is constant communication. I'm wondering, however, what specifically are some of the cues that you're using in terms of constant communication? Because it's not just noise, right?
Yeah, well, I practice. This is what I started doing. My last 2 years at Seton Hall as associate head coach, one of the years we couldn't win a game in January at all. It was bad, right? So I went to a couple of players, talked to them. I know during our individual instruction, I play music, and the guys love music. They kind of, this is what get them going. So I said to my head coach at the time, Coach Willard, I said, Coach, let's play music during practice. That way, I don't want us talking as coaches. Let the players talk, right? Let them talk over music. So now we're making sure that they talk louder and they communicate with each other. So we started doing that at Seton Hall. And next thing you know, Chris, the whole month of February was unbelievable for us. And then we kind of did that the rest of the year. Then the next year we won a bunch of games, and we kind of bought into that. And I kind of brought that with me to St. Peter's. And what I do is I play music during the whole practice. It get guys going. It keep me engaged as well, right? Because it could get boring a little bit, going over the same things. And that way, I tell some drills we do. I tell the coaches, you're not allowed to talk. the players got to talk. And the players, you got to talk over this music. So that means you got to talk loud. You got to communicate. You got to tell your teammates where they need to be, help, even like talk. And it's kind of been successful for us. I don't know if everybody could do it. I kind of been doing it, and we kind of been doing it pretty well. And it worked because, like I tell guys all the time, when the defense is away from us during the game, you probably can't hear us calling out the plays anyway. So that way you guys all on the same page, and we used to it. So that's kind of what, that.
It's definitely worked for you, Coach. I mean, tremendous improvements at St. Peter's in your time. And you can tell, watching your team play, which I did to get ready for this, that you also emphasize tremendous ball pressure. Can you talk to us about what you teach in terms of on the ball stance?
So it's funny you said that, right? Because I call my guys the night of the Butler Gonzaga, I call my guys the night of the Baylor Gonzaga game. And I told them, I said, you guys are watching Baylor's defense, on the ball defense. I said, that's us, right? And when I tell you guys that's what win games and win championships, now you see. So with that being said, we spend a lot of time on defense, Chris, a lot of time. That's who we are. Our team is built on defense. That's my background. That's kind of what I always did. And we spend a lot of time on, not so much shell. I know a lot of people do a lot of shell defense. We spend a lot of time on 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. Because my thing is this, and it also work offensively too, right? Because if you so when I was playing growing up, we play a lot of 1-on-1, a lot of 2-on-2, a lot of 3-on-3. Kids these days have no idea what that is. They have no idea that you're going to gym and you're playing 1-on-1. Guys going to gym and just take 200 3-pointers, but they're not good 3-pointers. They just stand around. This way, when you're working on 1-on-1, you're working on how to get around people. You're working on how to read defense offensively, and then defensively, you're working on how to stay in front of people and move your feet and beat people to a spot. That's kind of what we do in practice for the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We play a lot of 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3 closeouts, beating people to spots, don't ride them. I have a philosophy, we don't give our middle. Everything is forced to the baseline. So the defense come that way. And that's kind of what we've been doing here. And it's worked for us. This year, our numbers, we was number one in defensive stops. I think we was number one in 5 different defensive categories, which has been like that since I've been here at St. Peter's.
I'm curious then with the 2-on-2, 3-on-3, et cetera, are you playing different types of games of 2-on-2, 3-on-3 each day to be able to emphasize different things? Is that what you're doing? Essentially the same template, but you're changing the emphasis?
Yeah, sometimes you're allowed to do 3 dribbles. Sometimes you're allowed to do 2 dribbles. Sometimes you got to try to go baseline and we got to cut you off and make sure that I don't allow middle. So we force you middle sometimes and we kind of cut you off and make you go baseline. It's just different things that we teach on it. A lot of it is contesting. We had a problem my first year with contesting the 3-point line. We got killed on that. So the last 2 years, we put a big emphasis on that. We spend a lot of time 5-on-5 as well. Once we do a lot of, I call it build-up drills. So you start from 1-on-1 to 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, and we kind of extend it out. So I would say our practice is all defense and it's all half court. Now that could get really, for kids who don't have a a mindset of that, it could get to a point where it get pretty hard. But we built that in them, and that's something that we do. And I tell them all the time, this is who we are. When we go games where we don't score for 5 or 6 minutes, but we get 7, 8, 12 stops. This is why we're still in games.
Well, I love that philosophy of using constraints, things that are going to shape learning and coaching within the context of the game. And I imagine the part that does make it a little bit easier for your players who may think it's all defense is that you're getting to play offense at the same time, right? Because you're doing 2-on-2 and 3-on-3. So in a way, you're taking care of both sides of the ball at the same time.
Correct. And like I said, and so you're working on defense, but the offensive guys were working on offense. You trying to score. You got to learn how to score against a good defensive team. And I think we're a pretty good defensive team. And that's why, when we work on those type things, our offensive guys get better as well. Because it's you're learning how to score against guys that take defense serious. My guys take defense serious because I make sure we do that. So when you learn how to go against those guys every day, you got another choice but to get better offensively as well.
I want to talk about pressing a little bit because obviously you're a pressure team. And before we get to that, though, with playing the 12 players you did as in 2020 season, is that an ideal now moving forward, or was that just a reality of what you had to do at that time for your system to work?
So just backtrack a little bit. So my first year I got the job, I had I had like 5 scholarships that I had to fill. I got the job in like the end of April, right? I didn't know, I knew the team personnel because I did some homework. I didn't know, John Dunn was a great defensive coach. His guys play hard. So I knew that those guys had the concept of defense. But we wasn't very deep at all. So I told my guys, this next recruiting class, I want 10, 11 guys because I was playing 6 or 7 guys my first year and it wasn't fun at all. So when we got that class, we brought them in. It was great. We kind of built in that, and that's how I want to play. And the funny thing, Chris, I'm gonna tell you a story that you're gonna get a kick out of this. Everyone is telling me you can't play like that anymore. Kids going to play 30 minutes a game. Kids going to transfer. You want to leave. To the flip side now, this year everybody in my league started doing it. Right, so it was funny. Everybody was killing me for it. Then when we had success, now everybody's doing it. And to be honest with you, I wish I had it this year because we was playing back-to-backs, right? So now if I had it playing this year, I wouldn't have had a problem. We would have been great. But everybody in my league was now playing 10, 11, 12 guys, which in the past, they was only playing 6 or 7, and I was getting killed for doing it in the newspapers everywhere. But then when it was successful, it became successful. Now everybody wanted to start doing it. So I just wanted to throw that in there because I thought that was hilarious.
It is funny. It's a great compliment as well, Coach. And you talked about one of the reasons that you like to press is to put pressure on the not necessarily even just put pressure on the offense, but to put pressure on the shot clock, right?
Correct. So we, I play 2 different type of press. I go to a 2-2-1, back to like a matchup zone at times, and then we play obviously full court man-to-man press. And our 2-2-1 is not to get steals per se. It's to slow them down, make them think, get the ball over half court. Now you guys instead of having 30 seconds, now you got 18 seconds or 24 seconds to make a play. And then when we're in our matchup zone, these guys do 1 or 2 or 3, 4 passes before they know, like, oh, they ain't man to man. Now shot clock is down to 12, 15. Now we kind of getting what we want. So from that aspect, we do that. And then when I go full court man to man, we get all over it. That's when I'm trying to get steals and create tempo and things like that.
Yeah, it's great. It must make it fun to be able to coach as well. Now, I'm curious, when you do use a pressing type of style, how does that shape your practices in terms of some of the things that you do within practice?
Well, this year it was challenging, right? Because we actually didn't have a home gym this year. Right? Our gym is getting done over, right? So we was in a local high school, and when we had a certain amount of hours, we had 2 hours for the gym. So I had to try to get in what was important, right, to us at the time. And with us, we do so much defensive stuff. But yeah, to answer your question, like the kids love it. The kids love playing that style because most people like playing up and down, and most kids don't like structure offense or structure defense, right? They like just want to play. But with us, it don't look like it's structured, but it's very well structured. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
It makes sense. And I think in reflecting back on what you talked about with some of your small-sided games, 3-on-3, et cetera, that you're constantly working on rotations and recovery, right? So that applies in the half court and it applies in the full court.
Yes, right. Because now you're playing, like we do some 5-on-5 full shell, full court, right? And now you're working on positioning. Now you're working on when to come and run and jump, when to stunt, when just to be there. And those things is a built up. And now when we go 5-on-5 full court live, now guys know when to go. Because I don't have a specific call when I go, okay, go. It's all fill, right? So if a guy's going up the sideline and we turn him, you got to be there. Or if a guy's coming middle, a speed dribble, then go. If a guy's coming, he's probing, you can't run because now he sees you coming, he's going to pick us apart. So it's kind of different feels with it. It's kind of how we do it.
Well, and it speaks to the fact that, it's really hard to learn how to press if you're not playing against offense, right? This is not an on-air drill. This is, offense versus defense, and get better and get a feel for the decisions, right?
Yes, Chris. Yeah. So yeah, it's like I said, my first year we had a problem turning the ball over when teams pressed us, right? It's funny because they said the whole thing is a pressing team don't like to get pressed, right? So it's funny. So we had issues turning the ball over last year and a little bit this year as well. No, excuse me, my first year and my second year. So working on that, I worked on my guys on offense too. Like they come after us, right? Learn how to take care of the basketball, right? So now you got 2 or 3 dribbles to try to get over. If not, then you're making a pass because everybody knows the ball moves faster than dribbling, right? But most kids want to just try to break the press on their own. And I had a kid, Aaron Estrada, last year, who was a freshman for us, who got Rookie of the Year, who ended up transferring to Oregon. He was very gifted with the ball, so he was like, "Coach, just clear everybody out, not just bring the ball up." I'm like, "Aaron, it doesn't work like that. In practice, it might work like that. In the game, like they come after us, and that's why we got to learn how to pick guys in position."
Coach, as an aside, as you mentioned that you had a player transfer to Oregon, and maybe not that specific example, but just in general, if you're thinking about mid and low majors and having players transfer to a higher level, that's actually a compliment. And is that actually something that you use in selling recruits on the fact that we can develop you?
You know what?
It's a dangerous line, isn't it?
Is it? So my cricket coaches want to use it. I don't, because I think that, like you said, it's a catch-22 there. Like you got to be careful with that, right?
Totally.
Because now here's the thing. Now that player comes in and says, "Okay, I can do the same thing. I can stay 1 year and leave too," right? I don't really talk too much about that because once a person leaves me, they're gone. I work for the best. I have no animosity towards those guys. But I kind of focus on what I have and who we have and stuff like that. But you're right, man. It's dangerous. You got to be real careful with that.
Yeah, just curious. And Coach, another term that you use, which I don't think on the podcast we've ever got a coach really kind of dive in a little bit deeper and sharing an explanation on, is using the term wall up. Can you talk about that and what it means for you and your program?
So when we talk about wall up, that's pretty much our big guys and guards. So with our guards, like I got small guards. So when smaller guards get posted up, I want us to just wall up, not try to block a shot, because you ain't blocking no one shot, right? So on defense, we kind of either front or three-quarter. And once they get it, you play behind them and you just walling up, your hands is up, you kind of pushing from your stomach up. Referees pretty much don't look at they don't look at down there, they look up top. So now I actually learned this, to tell you the truth, from UConn. So when I was playing at Seton Hall, I don't know if you remember Jake Vasco. Yeah. He did the best job of walling up. I mean, his post defense was some of the best I've ever seen in my life, because what he did was he bodied up and walled up, and he never moved his hands. He always moved his feet and his stomach, and he kind of pushed you, and the referees don't look at it like that. So that's kind of what we teach. Also, when we come over help side or weak side, on a double team, we teach us walling up. Come together, put your hands, protect yourself here, and just kind of just walling up, and not go for fakes, not going anything, just wall up, hands up, come together, and just be big. And that's kind of what we've been teaching, and it's been good for us. Because if you watch my team, we're not very big, and people throw down the ball down low all the time on us, and people have a hard time scoring because we do our work early, right? So we kind of take them out of their comfort zone. Then once they get in their comfort zone, we're not going for ball fakes. We ain't going for nothing. We just walling up and just being big and move your feet. That's kind of what we teach.
Yeah, it speaks to that exactly. That stay down and make them make a shot between you and the rim rather than give up an advantage, right?
Of course, make them shoot over you just as long as your hands is up and wind up. Especially for guards. Guards, us small guards want to think that we shot blockers, right? We want to go in there and we should try to block shots. We're not blocking no one's shot, right? So just wall up, body up, push them off, and make them shoot over you.
Yeah, deal with realities. And the other part that I love that you mentioned is that you generally can foul with your lower body if you're smart about it, but you can't foul with your upper body.
Yeah, because referees looking up. They never look low. Like they never ever look low. Right now with the new thing in the post, you can play with your elbow, you can arm guard. But my thing is, like, when we walling up and our hands are straight up, and they teach, right? The new rule is if your hands straight up, it's not a foul, right? So if your hands straight up and you pushing from underneath, like, they really never look at that. Now, hopefully they don't listen to this podcast and take my little secret.
No, you'll be fine, Coach. And I know we could get into closeouts a little bit, but mainly the part on closeouts I want to get into is the fact that you want your players to leave their feet to challenge a shot, right?
Correct.
So that's a little bit of a contradiction from the post then. The correct. Post, stay down, perimeter, you want them to leave their feet.
Yeah. So when we closing out, I teach closeout short, right? Because the reason why we teach closeout short is if you're closing out and you're running out, any good guard is going to run right by you, right? So you teach closeout short with your hand up and you're chopping your feet. Most guys who are not great shooters are not looking to shoot the basketball. At first, they're looking to drive. So if you're closing out short, when they come driving at you, you could beat them. It's all about angles. That's why I learned at an early age. Like, you ain't got to be the fastest person, but if you learn angles, you're going to be a good defender. I call it smoke and mirrors, right? So we teach that, and we also teach contesting, but you only leave your feet when the offensive guy leave his feet, right? Because everybody now go for shot fakes and ball fakes, and I don't want my guys doing that. You close out short, hands up, and when he leave his feet to shoot, contest straight up, box out. If not, don't leave your feet. Don't go for shot fakes. Don't go for ball fakes. Just stay down. And that's kind of what we teach. And like I said, everything is forced to the baseline.
Love it. And transitioning a little bit into offense and talking about that a little bit now, Simon Gersberg from shotquality.com, he sent me a stat about you guys, which I thought was tremendous. And it's that St. Peter's this year had the second most efficient ATOs in the MAAC in terms of quality of shots. And overall, we're 55th in the nation. So I'm wondering, what are you doing to be able to manufacture great shots?
Well, you know what? It's funny, Chris, because because we have a hard time scoring at times. So I'm actually surprised to hit that stat. The one thing I am, though, after timeouts, I do take I do take that serious, like trying to score. Have a special situation with that. We spend so much time on defense, and my guys, the offensive team. Sometimes it comes to a point where like one team is on defense because I want them to get 3 stops in a row, and that's how you gotta get off. Like you gotta get 3 stops in a row, and then you get off. So on the offensive side, when you're playing against each other so much, you know what that person like to do, right? So like the play, you know what the play is going to be about. You know what that person like to do. So we have a hard time, scoring and practicing the games. We run so much open offense and a lot of pick and rolls. Like you need a point guard and you need playmakers to make plays, man. And I tell people all the time, it's really not the offense, it's the players. Period. Right? And this year, that's why, going out recruiting, I gotta get 2 more playmakers because I don't want to get stuck where we had a hard time scoring a lot last year, Chris. I mean, we had some games when we scored for 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and you can run all the best plays in the world. But if you ain't got guys to say, forget this play, I'm going to get fouled. I'm getting to the basket or I'm getting a layup. That's kind of what it's all about.
Well, to clarify, you'll have to stand in this compliment, Coach. That stat is actually a reflection of your ability to put them in a situation where they can take a quality shot. It doesn't necessarily mean they made it, which speaks back to your point.
Well, that's why I was like, wow, okay, that's a really.
No.
And, I thought, like I run some good stuff. Once again, I steal from a lot of people.
Coach, is it matchup based? Like, do you come out of timeouts or ATOs thinking matchup based, like to getting your players in the best situation, or are you thinking about attacking their matchups? Which one?
Well, that's my thing. Like, so we spend a lot of time. Like, so right, it's funny. I was telling this to a recruit last night. When you do a walkthrough or you do something of another team, you kind of go over their stuff, right, and say, okay, they're gonna run this, they're gonna run that, they're gonna do this. When I do it actually different. I go, okay, how can we score against them? Right? Who's a weak defender? Who's playing who? How can we get the mismatch? Or stuff like that. So when we come out of timeouts, I have a play sheet that's very long, and each time is something different. It's never the same thing. And I just try to, explore different matchups.
So I want to talk about the 3-point line, and I want to go back to what you said earlier about that you needed to adjust your 3-point line defense. Can you talk about some of the things that led to improvement in that first, and then we'll talk about the offensive side?
Well, one was contesting shots, leaving your feet. That was big. Second was running people off the 3-point line. Making them, not comfortable, making them drive the basketball, especially when you're playing against teams that's really good 3-point shooters, right? And the third thing was, we don't deny, Chris. Like, most good defensive teams deny. Like, we don't deny. Our thing is help out, be in the gap. Once your man get it next, you pressure the heck out of him. Right? So with that being said, now when guys are better shooters, you kind of shade toward the shooter a little bit more, right? But I thought helping us the last 2 years with defense, 3-point defense was just contesting and running people off the line. Personnel is very key. We spend a lot of time on personnel. Like, so you got to know personnel. You got to know who's who. You got to know who's a shooter, who's a driver. And we kind of drill it. And guys kind of, when the game starts, they know who's who.
So to go to the offensive side of the ball, in looking at some of the stats from shotquality.com, what it said is that you guys were very good in terms of getting a quality of 3-point attempt. Again, that doesn't mean you necessarily made it, but you got a very good quality of 3-point attempt. And I think a lot of it in looking at the numbers is because you were so good at attacking the rim. Like your numbers in terms of getting to the rim were very high. So I'm wondering what has helped you guys be so efficient getting to the basket?
Like I said, man, I think the 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3 helps a lot. I recommend that to anybody who's listening today. Like I said, you have to know how to score. Everybody want to be a scorer, right? They don't know how to score, right? So you got to know how to score. When you're playing 1-on-1, you're learning how to go around people and read angles. 2-on-2, the same thing. 3-on-3, the same thing. Also, we do a lot of drive and kick drills in practice, like live drive and kick drills. And I got some guys that can really shoot the basketball. So I encourage those guys to take shots. Now, some of them obviously be watching Steph Curry and Dame Leonard. Everybody want to shoot from way beyond the 3-point line, right? Slide it in a little bit, fellas. You guys ain't Dame and Steph. But we spend a lot of time on driving kicks and learning how to shoot and when to shoot and try to get to the basket. And I got some wings that are very good drivers. And then when the defense collapse, we play very unselfish. They know how to hit the open guy.
Great stuff, Coach. With those drive and kick drills, what I'm curious about, because I think this is a challenge for a lot of coaches that you can help them understand maybe. The problem with a lot of drive and kick drills is that they usually start from an unrealistic start, right? So can you explain a little bit some of the different dynamic ways you start the drive and kick drills to make it realistic?
Yeah, so one of the things we do, Chris, I start with a big guy underneath on the left block. There's a shooter. There's 3 shooters. There's a shooter in the corner. There's a shooter in the gap, which I call the gap, which is the elbow. Then there's another shooter on the other gap. And there's also another big guy at the other elbow. So that's 5 guys on the court at the same time, right? The rebounder, which is normally the center, he's kicking it out to the guy in the corner. So the first shot is a regular 3. Next shot, regular 3. Third shot, now you passing it out. He's ball faking, driving to score to the gap, driving to score. That guy that's on the first opposite elbow is spacing way to the top of the key. So you got to hit him. Now that guy that's at the top of the key, he's taking a hard rip in the paint. The guy that was on the opposite elbow is going to the other corner. So he's taking a hard rip, getting the paint, jump stop, kicking for a 3, right? He's shooting it. The next time around, instead of him shooting it, now he ball fakes, drive back to the middle. The guy who passed to him is now backing back up to the 3-point line. He got an option of shooting it or driving it, hitting the guy at the opposite 3. So we kind of do a lot of different things like that. I hope I explained it correctly. So people
did. Yeah, it's great to shed some light on that, Coach. And going back to just, let's go general offense. You've talked about this, that you believe in tailoring your offense every year to your personnel, who's on your team and what are their strengths. Can you talk about that process? How do you decide that? Well,
like I watch a lot of film, Chris, a whole lot of film. I tell people all the time, I'm not a great coach, but what I do is I still allow people plays because I watch so much. I look at my personnel every year. I don't want to run the same plays because it's different personnel. This year I ran different stuff than last year. This year we had a team full of my wings and my bigs wasn't traditional bigs. They were 6'7", 6'8", that could drop the ball from the outside. So what I did, I put a motion offense in, and it was just about spacing, spacing and try to get guys, match up problems and stuff like that. And also then you run some sets of who you got, right? I got a couple shooters, want to get guys some shots. Everything we did this year was pick and rolls. If you got a pick and roll guard, it's really dangerous because if he's really good in the pick and roll, he can find people and make him find himself. That's what Aaron Seiler was for us. He was really good with that. So it's like you said, it's on personnel. It's on different things I want to do. But I watch a lot of games and and not just NBA games. I watch European games, G League games, NBA, college, high school, and I look at plays. And if I like them, I take them down and I kind of go over them and see how it fits my guys and kind of go from there.
And throughout the season, will you be emphasizing certain plays over other plays? And then, they know that this package is important for this game versus these plays that we ran before. We're not using them right now. Is that kind of how it works?
Well, it's funny you said that because I did that last year. This year, I wanted to do that with the back-to-backs, but it was kind of tough, right? Mm-hmm. Because with the back-to-back, you really want to win the first game. So you kind of throwing the whole kitchen sink out. Like, it doesn't matter what you like. You
not
can't
saving anything. Yeah.
You can't save anything. You kind of just want to, you kind of go from there. And now there's no fans. There's no nothing. The other team, all they're doing right now is just jotting down everything you say, everything you do, right? But last year, yeah, I kind of did that. I kind of had different packages for different games. And it's also based on who I got on the court, right? So if I got 5 guys on the court that are really good drivers, then we kind of play an open offense. We kind of just motion. If I got guys that need, that I need to run sets for, then we kind of run some sets for them.
That's great stuff. The other thing that you talk about is that, your real big emphasis on taking your time on layups and making good decisions. Yes, I see your response and going, yes, a lot of coaches feel the same. Can you talk about that process for you and then how you shape that for your players?
Well, you know what? This year, especially this year, man, we left so many points on the board. I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, finishing is like really tough for people, man. Like, it's really hard because everybody want to be fancy, right? Everybody want to, everybody want to do the jelly or they want to do different things and just, basic 2-stop, 2 feet, ball fake. Like, people don't teach that anymore. So we spend a lot of time on basic fundamental things. We do a lot of finishing drills, either with the pad or without the pad. This year was without the pad because of COVID. They don't want you being too close to the players, right? So you really can't do the things that you really want to do in practice. But we spend a lot of time on finishing left hand, right hand, different layups. Because everybody want to shoot floaters or everybody want to take these layups off the wrong foot because this is what they did with their trainer during the summer. All stuff that you don't teach as a college coach, but they do it with their trainer. So now I got to get all those bad habits away and kind of get back to this. So we spend a lot of time on doing a lot of finishing drills around the basket. I tell you, Chris, truth, even in practice, if we're in practice and we miss 4 or 5 layups, I'm stopping and we're running. Right? I used to do that with turnovers. Now I do that with missed layups because we lost a lot of close games my first couple of years because of just bunnies at the basket. Because guys just don't focus and take their time. Like in the MAAC, it's not too many really good shot blockers, right? So you got to go in there having that mindset. They're not shot blockers. You got to know how to finish. Like you got to know how to get in there and ball fake, shot fake, and then step through and finish with your left, which a lot of kids can't finish with their left hand. That's part of the problem, right? So, go ahead.
No, it's tremendous. And I imagine as I'm listening to you talk about this, that an overriding thing for your program is skill development within the year, within the season, right? Because you're not dealing with a certain level of player. These players have to get better for you to get better. So this continues throughout the whole season for you in terms of this emphasis on layups and skill.
So a big part of what we do is skill development, Chris. That's kind of who we are. I built my career with that from Coach Willard, working with Coach Willard. I was with him for 11 years, and I was with him being with Coach Pitino. For all that time, he's with Coach P. Skill development was a big part of what we did at Iona and at Seton Hall. And I brought that over to St. Peter's. And I think that's our recipe for success. I do skill development 4 to 5 times during the week, even during practice, even during the school, even during the year, which most people would do it in preseason. I'm doing it throughout the whole year. Because my thing is, if you don't get better individually, my team can't get better. So we spend a lot of time on that. I mean, a lot of time. If you watch my team, you'll see like each month we get better because of that. Like our shots, we shoot the ball better, we start finishing better, decision making. Like we spend so much time on that. And I do small groups. I don't do big groups. So like, for example, if a kid had class at 10 o'clock, right? So you have class at 10. At 8:30, you're coming in with 2 other guys. So I'll do 3 guys to a group. And for 45 minutes, we're doing individual instruction, skill development, 5 days a week. And every day is something different. It's never the same thing. There's always something different each day. And I do that even during the season.
That's great.
Right? Because in practice, as a player, depending on who you are, you might only get 3, 4, 5 shots, right? And I don't have time to work on skill development 20 minutes before practice, right? People like, I do 20 minutes. No, I want them guys to focus on really getting better, game-like shots, game-like moves. And that's, to me, I'll be honest with you, Chris, that's what I love. Like, that's the best part of my day when we do those individual instructions in the morning and I'm getting those guys better and those guys are working and we having fun. And you see the aftermath after, guys getting better. You see a guy going shooting 28% from three. The next thing you know, he's shooting 36 or 37 because the repetition and the confidence that he's getting from these skill development is unbelievable.
Well, I have two thoughts. One is that how I was going to ask you how you schedule it, and you talked about keeping it separate from practice. And I'm wondering, is that something that you learned through your playing experience or your coaching experience? That's the way you valued doing it?
Yeah, I learned it through my coaching experience. I got it from, obviously Coach Willard, who, got it from Coach Patino.
Yeah.
So like we practice at 3:00, right? So I'll have three groups of 3 throughout the morning, right? So a group would probably be at 8:00, 8 to 8:30 or 8 to 8:45. Then another group come in at like 8:30 to like 9:15. So we kind of schedule it through their class schedule. So now, and that with St. Peter's, you understand, you got to get your work in because now you're getting individual, lifting, study hall, class, all this stuff before 3:00, eat, all that stuff. So we working, right? And that's every day, Chris. That's something that we've been doing, and I'll be honest with you, it's been a great plus for us. We kind of missed it this year just because we didn't have our own gym, and it kind of hurt us. I know it hurt us a little bit because I had a good group of freshmen that was now sophomores, and not only did we didn't have it, you got to realize we didn't have a summer because of COVID, and summer is when we get our work in. So I was trying to get it in, during practice, but you just can't do it if you have practice at 3:00. You can't do it at 2:30 with everyone. Like I'm a big believer in individuals with 3 groups because I do that with lifting too. I also do that with academic stuff. I think people work better in small groups. That's just, my opinion.
Well, I imagine the other advantage is it really gives you a much better opportunity to build relationships and really connect with players, right? Because they are in smaller groups. They're more willing to communicate back to you in smaller groups, and it's easier for you to connect.
Well, connect, and also they learning more, right? So now instead of working with 12 guys, I'm working with 3 guys.
Well, the focus is on them, right?
Absolutely. Now I'm spending time on their footwork because like a lot of kids who come out of high school, they walk, right? They don't know because they don't call in high school. So we spend a lot of time on footwork. A bunch of time, a lot of time on footwork. Spend a lot of time on learning how to score without dribbling. Like most guys don't know how to score off the jab move. So we spend a lot of time. You watch my team. I mean, you see if we catch the ball, if we don't have a shot right away, they ain't putting the ball on the ground. They jabbing first. Learn how to move without, learn how to score without dribbling the basketball. I don't like wasting dribbles like that. And we don't take 17-footers, 18-footers. Nope. Those are the worst shots in basketball. It's either a 3-pointer, right, or a 15-footer. That's what we work on. Those are things that I work on, and you watch my team play. That's how we play.
And the other part is your actual team practices are a little bit shorter duration. Then is that true?
Well, it depends on how much I get done, right? So, like I said, the first part of practice is almost like 45 minutes an hour is defensive stuff, different defensive stuff. It's never the same. And then we kind of get up and down because you have to with kids because you don't want to lose them, right? Then you get up and down. And then you kind of work on your offensive stuff. See, but for us, I got to work on different things now. I got to work on that. I got to work on my press. I got to work on my zone. I got to work on a lot of things. So I try to go for like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, depending on, because that morning thing, the morning is just for them getting better offensively, right? So now you have 5, 6, 7 hours to recover from that before practice. So, yeah,
that's great. That's great. And, just to note for coaches is obviously the other part of that is that you're doing the skill development. And then when they get to team practice, they get a chance to connect it offense versus defense. You're not keeping it as a separate on-air thing. You're connecting it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I talked to a lot of coaches this year. And most people do their skill development based off their offense. I don't do that. I do my skill development based off how I think kids need to learn how to score. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes in your offense, you kind of teach, certain things during practice, But when you do individual stuff, that's just for them getting better. Like they got to get better on all aspects of their game on the offensive side. You know,
That's great that you said that. So it's more of a holistic development. You're not
Absolutely.
saying I'm not trying to fit a player, like in a round hole. If they're, I'm trying to develop them as a whole player.
Like, so if you look at my guys, like my big guys, they do the guard drills. Some of my guards do big guard drills, not so much posting up, but make post up and stuff like that. And then sometimes we come together and we do ball handling drills, and the bigs have to learn how to drill. But like I like skilled guys. So if you watch my team, my bigs, they get the rebound, I allow them to push it. So now when they push it, they got to learn how to make decisions, right? They get the ball on the mid post or at the 3-point line. I'm working on those guys, ripping through, making a secondary move because you got to learn how to play from that. Like I don't pick guys in boxing. I think that's why I kind of been successful with people sending kids to me that probably shouldn't be on my level or in my conference because they know that their kids is going to get better, and I'm not going to put them in the box and say, okay, just get, if you're a big guy, just get on the block. You only do on the block stuff. Nope, you're doing everything.
Well, and that leads us into this question, which is about not putting them in a box. Is something that you've said is that you've moved towards some more motion-based sets where it allows players more freedom. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
Well, for example, this year's team, right? Casey Ndefo, who's 6'7", he would play center for us. I wanted to get Casey on the move because Casey's he's not great back to the basket player. That's not his thing, right? So now I gotta get him on the move. I gotta get him going downhill. I gotta get him coming off some driving kicks or coming off a motion set or some weave. Now you have 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" guys chasing him outside. Now he could go bottom because he's very good because we work on it, secondary moves or moves, right? I also gotta make him. He wasn't a great 3-point shooter, but I gotta make sure when he's out there, I don't want him shooting 23s. I ain't saying that. You might take 2 or 3 if they're good ones during the game. That way I'm helping him with his game. He's helping us. See, to me, Chris, I'll be honest with you, most coaches not like this. To me, it's a give and take, right? Like, so you gotta, I call it mind fuck. You gotta mind fuck kids at times, right? Like, so you gotta make them think like, all right, well, coaches let me play on the perimeter. Coaches let me do this, do that, and you can't do it. No, what coach is doing now is this is part of my whole thing of helping you become a better basketball player. And if you become a better basketball player on my team. So when I got my centers out on the 3-point line, they know that they're not shooting 4 or 5 threes a game. They know that. I'm not playing that game. But if they got one and they're wide open, take it, big fella. You know what I mean? Take it. You work at it. You work hard on it. We work on it in skill development. Or now you out there. Here's the thing now. Now you know I make a dribble handoff. Now you know I make a dribble at them. They come. Now you know I throw a backdoor pass. So it's more based on those things because that's how my offense is set. And that makes sense.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to hear that perspective. And those soft words that you mentioned, it really comes back to positive manipulation, right? That's what we're trying to do. Manipulate them in a positive way so that they improve.
Right. You're right. And that's what it's all about. Because I'm a big believer. If guys get better individually, your team gets better, for sure.
Coach, I also have to say, I have to end this with talking about your gym because it consistently shines through. And you've said it multiple times in the podcast how your gym was getting redone, but it consistently shines through about how important it is to get your gym redone because it was not one of the good ones.
You know what? It was important to me when I first took the job, Chris. I asked my administration, how are they, like, how much are you investing in winning, right? And they said yes. I said, okay, well, in order for me to come in, these are the things that need to take place, right? So when I first came in, we had the same locker room that they had since the 1960s. Got a brand new locker room, beautiful, state of the art. My office was the same office they had, whatever. Got a brand new office, it was beautiful. Brand new weight room. And then, talking to, Tom McMahon, who's one of our big donors, who's an unbelievable supporter of the team. He gave a big donation for a brand new gym. And it's going to open up on June 1st of this year. Super excited. I've seen the blueprint. I mean, it's one of the better ones in our league. So I'm looking forward to that. And I know that's what kids like. Kids like facilities and kids like those type things. Me, when I play, give me 4 walls and 2 baskets. But it's not like that now. So I'm super excited for that. The kids are super excited. So it's definitely going to help us out.
Awesome. Can't wait to see it. Coach, and listening to you, you're the type of coach that I would want to play for. The reality is what's fun for so many players is yes, competing, but most players want to get better and feel that someone's helping them get better. And, that shines through in what you do. It's just very simple. Work hard. Here's how you're going to get better. That's who you are, right?
Right. Like I'm simple, man. I'm a young guy, but I'm an old school guy, right? So like I tell kids all the time, even when I'm recruiting them, listen, I'm not a car salesman. I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell you the world. I'm a basketball coach. I'm a father. I'm a big brother figure. I'm a mentor figure. I'm gonna help you get better as a man and as a student and as a player. Like that's my job. All that other stuff, like that's not me. I'm not. It's not about me, fellas. It's about you guys and you guys' experience in college because it's supposed to be a great experience. And that's just who I am. I'm not a self-promoter. I don't sit here and try to promote myself and what I do and what we do. I was taught at a young age. You work hard. You keep your nose clean. You keep a low profile. Let your work do the talking. That's kind of what I've been doing.
Well, Coach, this has been tremendous. Just so many insights in terms of how you run your program. And, I know there'll be tons of curiosity to learn more about you as well and your program and all the great success. So thank you for taking the time and sharing the game with us.
No, thank you for having me, man. I definitely appreciate it. And anything I could do to help out, please don't hesitate.